We want to bring you the latest on this storm, and joining us right now is AccuWeather lead hurricane expert, meteorologist Alex De Silva. Alex, I looked at I'm going to call up the satellite picture here, and I want you to see if you notice what I'm noticing here. If you think I'm correct, you can clearly see now on the infrared satellite picture some of those clouds, the yellows and especially the reds, trying to wrap around now on the northern, and let's see if it gets on the western side of our center of circulation.
Yeah, certainly starting to see the blow-up of thunderstorms trying to wrap around the center of circulation. That's really the one thing that's missing for this to become a tropical storm. I think the winds are actually closing in on tropical storm strength now, and it wouldn't surprise me if the next National Hurricane Center update coming up here in the next hour and a half or so that they name this storm. Things are looking a little bit better in terms of the organization of this tropical rainstorm right now.
The exclusive AccuWeather iPath showing that tropical storm certainly by 8 o'clock tonight, and then a move into the Gulf of Mexico as we go through tomorrow. And history tells us, Alex, that when these systems get into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, they not only intensify, but oftentimes they rapidly intensify.
Yeah, that area of the Atlantic Basin, that extreme northwestern Caribbean, southeastern Gulf of Mexico, we've seen a lot of storms here in the past few years, even 5 years, 10 years, that have really rapidly intensified in that zone right there. And I'm concerned that this is going to be no different. You can really see the big blow up of green on your screen there. That is the moisture really starting to fan out. You can see it essentially pushing that yellow area away. That's the dry air to the north. It's starting to create its own environment.
And then what you also see is, notice that blue moving from the Keys towards South Florida. That's called the outflow, and that's a sign of weakening wind shear.
Yeah, indeed. You can really see that. Again, that little area of low pressure to the northwest is backing away. The wind shear, I think, is going to start to really decrease over the storm here in the next 24 hours or so. And so you're already starting to see the storm start to what we call breathe. You can see the fanning of those high-level clouds around the top of the storm moving in a clockwise formation. That's indications to me that the storm is starting to breathe. It's entering a more healthy environment, and I would expect to see the storm start to strengthen here in the near future.
And then when you talk about water temperature, I mean, it's just high octane. It's like gasoline on the fire. I mean, water temperatures in the middle 80s. That's not the only thing you're looking at, though, Alex. Yeah,
the water temperatures, this is where they are the warmest in the entire Atlantic Basin, that Western Caribbean. And it's not only that, it's the depth of that warm water. We call that ocean heat content. We've really been pounding that point home. This is what really can lead to rapid intensification, and what the research has shown can really lead to rapid intensification, because tropical systems, they naturally mix up the water. But if you're mixing up warm water back up to the surface, that can allow essentially that tropical heat engine to continue to run. And so a lot of times where we see storms rapidly intensify, it's correlated to where the highest areas of ocean heat content are located. And you can see there, the Western Caribbean and into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, that's where we can see really high ocean heat content, and that's why we're concerned about the rapid intensification.
And it was yesterday, before all other known sources, that we forecasted a major hurricane in that area. That happened before AccuWeather early started yesterday at 6 a.m. And then you made the announcement at 10:30 that everything that we were looking at tells us that not only is this going to be a major hurricane, but it's going to be a major hurricane at landfall.
Yeah, indeed. And it's not only about that, it's the size of the storm.
Right.
I think this is going to be a pretty large system, so don't pay attention to necessarily where the center of the storm tracks if you live outside that area. This is going to have widespread impacts even beyond the scope of the cone. And so we're concerned about flooding potential, and the storm surge is what I'm really concerned about. Not only are we going to have a strengthening storm, but we're also going to have a growing storm. It's going to be large, and so these larger storms can produce a lot more storm surge. I'm concerned about Tampa Bay, and then all the way up into the Big Bend area. We could see a very, very significant and potentially deadly storm surge all the way up in those areas.
Now, later on today, Alex, we're going to zone in on that iPath. You can see the farthest west toward the Florida and Alabama state line, farthest east just south of Florida. But we're going to wait until we see the exact center of circulation. But the thought is, Alex, that we're gonna tighten that up later today.
Yeah, I think the chance of a direct impact on Tampa is pretty small at this time.
Right.
Not to say the impacts aren't going to be pretty significant. Again, I'm very concerned about the flooding and the storm surge potential into Tampa Bay. So we're probably going to trim the outer edge of that cone to around Tampa, maybe even a little north. And then the western side of the cone, we can probably trim that, pretty significantly on the western side as well. Again, kind of narrowing in as we get closer to landfall. We're kind of narrowing in on where we're most concerned about. Again, since the very beginning, we've always been concerned about the Big Bend of Florida, and it looks like that's where the storm is going to be going.
All right, AccuWeather lead hurricane expert Alex De Silva. Alex, thanks for the great information here on AccuWeather Early.